onto the next panel here. Prem's back, hopefully after some refreshment, as he has now got Mr. Robin Roberts, the Chief Operating Officer and Head of Strategy at Biome by Novartis. Wonderful to have you both on. It's an honor to host you. And Prem, I'll let you get underway with the introductions. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. So welcome, Robin. Terrific to be here with you today. And by way of introduction, Robin is CEO and Head of Strategy, Biome by Novartis. So welcome to the program. We look forward to your insights as we spend about the next 10-15 minutes together. So by way of introduction, please tell us a little bit about your background and perhaps some highlights from your career that you would like to share with us and the group that is attending this session.
Sure. Once again, my name is Robin Roberts, and I'm one of the co-founders as well as the chief operating officer for the Biome. I started my career actually on the bench as a molecular biologist, working at a company called Shearing Plow at the time, and realized rather quickly that that while I did some extensive training to get to that point and to be able to work on the bench, it wasn't necessarily the best thing for me. So I decided to go into clinical research. I went from there to Merck, prior to Merck actually acquiring Shearing Plow. Worked as a clinical trial lead on phase 3 and phase 4 trials for about 6 to 7 years. And then made my way to Novartis as a global trial lead. Again, leading phase 3 trials in clinical, in cardiovascular and a number of other therapeutic areas. Made a bit of an interesting turn in my career thereafter and joined the military, decided to go into naval special warfare. Those two things are not linked in whatsoever, but sometimes there's things in life that you need to do when it's time to do them. So did that, enjoyed the time that I spent serving, came back to Novartis, and had the opportunity to take a lot of the experience that I gained in the military and start what I call an entrepreneurial kind of process in my career. Had the great pleasure of founding and leading a group called the Global Trial Budget Management Group, which was at the time the team that was responsible for all of the budgets across all of the clinical studies at Novartis. So we were managing something in the $1 to $1.5 billion range. And this all stemmed from an idea that I had, not because I thought I wanted to run this, but because I thought to myself, this is something that I shouldn't be doing. I thought I should not be the one as a scientist that's responsible for the budgets. And so thought to myself, there should be a core competency that's developed that's able to do this and manage this better than I could. Be careful what you wish for, because you can quickly become the head of that program. So I had that great pleasure and did that, then moved on to digital thereafter, when I came to another kind of epiphany in my career, where I realized that I wanted to marry the things that I loved the most, between technology, starting off as a VCR repair person, being one of my first jobs, which actually dates me a bit, but that's back when people repaired VCRs, and clinical studies. And so I joined a team called the Digital Drug Development Organization, which were a bit like, I describe it like the X-Files, Fox and Scully type of a team, where we were not very well known. We were kind of in the basement of the drug development organization, and looked at as one of those teams that would probably won't exist in a few years, simply because digital wasn't at the forefront of any thought process for anyone in the space at the time. And went on to do a number of things there. One of them was the development of a digital strategy for the drug development organization, in developing that strategy, we came up with two constructs. One of them was the Digital Innovation Lab, and that became the Biome, which we launched in October of 2018, and now have 12 locations all over the world, and another 8 to 10 locations coming online over the next about 10 to 12 months.
It sounds wonderful. I mean, it's quite a journey, and there are messages in the chat box. I don't know. I don't think you're looking at them, but we want to thank you for your service, and
it's been
a very interesting combination of things. So, people are. I'm sure you'll get a lot of connection requests. They would want to find out more about how you transitioned through all these different parts of your life, and how these all came together. So very interesting stories. Thank you for that. And you did highlight the fact that it's a large corporation, and I suspect some of your service-related experience also helped you in terms of how to work in a large organization, and particularly with cultural changes, as you identified, to transition from the digital. So take us through that, because the past several years must have been very exciting to you.
Yeah, exciting and plenty of hard work. I mean, we're one of several teams inside of the organization that is responsible for really pushing that cultural shift from the way we've done business before to the way we do business in the future. And there's a lot to be said about the difficulties in our industry of switching from that, thinking that we had over the last 50, 60 years to something new. And a lot of that difficulty has to do with being victims of our own success. It's very difficult, and has been very difficult to say to an industry that has been so successful at bringing novel therapies to patients, that the way of doing business will change. The one thing that has really accelerated that has been this unfortunate pandemic that we're a part of, and that we're still going through. The discussion has changed as a result of this pandemic, from a discussion that was about how innovation can help you future-proof your business, to how innovation can help you keep business continuity today. And that's a much more tenable discussion to have with leadership in any type of organization, including a large organization like this one, because now you're talking about how to keep things in line so that the objectives that we have for today can be reached, as opposed to convincing them that the world is changing and that the digital innovations that we need to incorporate today are going to be a part of everyday life tomorrow.
It sounds spot on. It's a very thoughtful observation. So when you, from your vantage point, when you look into the future, how do you see this transitioning one of these days as we transition out of COVID? How do you think some of those, will you continue to see acceleration in that, or do you see that, how do you see that process moving forward?
A great question. And look, I think it's an exciting time. I think what the silver lining in COVID and this pandemic has been that we've been able to get over this initial hump of utilization for whether it be on the business side with the companies in our industry and bringing on board digital innovations, or whether it be on the patient side and utilizing those digital innovations either to provide, telehealth type solutions, or to provide, all kinds of different digital solutions and opportunities. Having gotten over that hump, now the value has been exposed, right? Patients now are saying, well, why can't I just do this via telehealth? Why can't I, do much of the things that I've had to go into a doctor's office to do? Why can't I do those things at home? And many parts of the business are saying, well, why should we run things the way that we've run them before? Why shouldn't we think about a decentralized way of executing on trials, or how we embed digital solutions into our commercialization of products, or our development of those products? So it's I think a very, very exciting time, because that initial hump was the most difficult piece to get over. We were always trying to have a conversation with the business and saying to them, the value is there. We just need to get past this initial, commitment of resources and of risk and of time, with very little value add, until we get to that other point where you're going to have this pool of value that you're going to gain because of this initial commitment that you made. So if we play our cards right, and we leverage the good that came out of this unfortunate pandemic, we could really remain, a decade or so ahead of where we would have been had it not occurred.
I think very spot on. I think it's a great insights coming particularly from a large organization like yours, and how these organizations have transitioned over the past 18, 20 months. So thank you for that insight. And perhaps we have only a few minutes left, but perhaps you could describe some of the importance of developing a detailed support network for life science companies to successfully partner with tech companies. I'm sure the audience would be interested in learning about how these partnerships may work with your organization, and
Sure.
perhaps there are some solutions.
Sure. So what we found in developing the biome is that we weren't new to the idea or the process of wanting to connect with the digital health ecosystem. It was already occurring, right? Not just at Novartis, but with other companies. They were, we were actively as an industry reaching out to the digital health ecosystem to try and solve problems that we had. I would say because we've slowly we're coming to the realization that, the future required that partnership. What we didn't have was a systematic approach that allowed for that connection to be more than just a break the surface type of, hey, we should work together. Let's hope that we can find a way to make that happen. We needed a more systematic approach that provided us the ability to identify the right solutions, to onboard those solutions, right, effectively. Understanding that many of these companies are not large CROs that were designed to work with, but rather smaller tech companies, and just tech companies in general function differently. So the onboarding process needs to change. And then developing the capability to be able to test these solutions so that we know what works best, what doesn't, what we should move forward with, what should change, and what we shouldn't move forward with. None of this existed as a systematic approach specific for engagement with digital health solutions. And so the requirement became that we needed to really create this and execute on it. And that's really what the biome is designed to do. It's designed to be that platform for that connection, and then have it underpinned by a host of products that allow for delivery on each one of those critical steps that I described.
Well, it sounds like a fascinating set of outcomes that have come through from your efforts and the efforts of your broader team. So congratulations on that. It's terrific insights, and I wish there was a little more time. We could go through some more questions that are in the chat box, but I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to come on to this symposium and offer us your insights. So looking forward to staying in touch, Robin. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Prem. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, really terrific conversation there, Prem, with Robin. Doubly honored to, of course, have a veteran within our midst. So again, just want to echo what we've had in the chat, and thank you, Robin, again for your service to the country, and going from one worthwhile career to another, of course, in the medical field. So wonderful to have you on.